Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. This time an exciting but mysterious package has arrived. Not expecting anything. It's like 4 or 5 days before Christmas, and this was taped to the bubble wrap. Straight away I was like, oh my god, what's this? It's a arcade PCB maybe? And it came with a covering letter, and I don't recognise the handwriting. First of all I was thinking Plan C, and then I'm like, is it Glen or is it Lee over at God, I forgot his name now. Lee Smith's workshop, or who sent this? I don't know. I think they've deliberately not signed it. Merry Christmas, sending you this Pang arcade PCB along with a couple of Saturn and PS to Neo Geo adapters. So that's what those are, I guess. Pang board is faulty. Hopefully you can save it. Yeah, I hope so too. That's incredible. Thank you ever so much for sending this. I've been looking forward to looking at an arcade board for a while. Funds just haven't supported it really, so it's really nice for you to send that. Adapters need parts for the controllers, and sorry I only had 2 Atmega spare. Keep up the good work on YouTube. Thanks ever so much. Whoever sent it, I don't know. I'm suspecting Glen, because I posted on Discord and he sent a winking symbol underneath when I asked who sent it. So did Glen send it? It may well be Glen. If it is Glen, I'll talk about Glen a bit further into the video and show you his channel, but I don't know at this stage. I honestly don't know. It's sort of a mystery, a pleasant Christmas mystery. So let's just get that out of the way. Let's have a look at these. So it was saying Saturn and PlayStation, there must be, it's the 2 different versions of these, or are they all the same PCB? I don't know. No, they're not, because these ones, oh, that one there says Saturn. Yeah, that's a Saturn. Yeah, the connectors are just in place but not soldered on. So I've got 2 PlayStation and 2 Saturn ones by the looks of things. The complication with this, of course, is you need the other connector. I guess the idea is maybe you buy an extension lead and then you solder. Mind you, that says DBF. What's that? Oh, that's the Saturn one. Yeah, so with the Saturn one, what does the Saturn use for its controllers? I don't know. Can you buy a connector for that, or do you have to sacrifice some of the board? I can't honestly remember what the Saturn cable connector looks like. Is it a DIN type? I don't know. So yeah, that side's obviously going to go into the Neo Geo, and your Saturn's going to go into there. Atmega 8/48, 88, 158, 328. So you've got a few different variations of the chips you can use there for different models. It needs a couple of resistors, 330 ohm, 100 ohm, 2 different 100 ohm ones, and 100 nanofarad cap, and a point here for maybe an electrolytic of some sort. Oh, he sent the resistors and caps and things with it, look. Oh, that's really cool. Makes it so much easier. And to be fair, I've probably got those components in stock. So these are the 328 ones, Mega 328P, I think it said. So we've got 2 of those. That's very kind of whoever you are that sent these. I'm so grateful. So that will be another video, I think. Obviously you'll see it in this video if it's in this video. But in this video, this is what I want to look at. I want to get this out. I'm assuming it's going to be it looks a bit like a bootleg. I'm suspecting a bootleg. So we've got a bit of artwork cut out for us. No idea what issues there are with this. Yeah, if it is, whether it's a bootleg or not, it could be quite hard work, because trying to get, wow, that's a bit dusty. Trying to get spares could be a problem. This is stock number, Pang. So yeah, I haven't got the wrist strap on, and I've got this really furry thing on that generates thousands of volts of ESD. So anyway, wrist strap's now on. Let's just rotate this round because there's a label there, look. It says scrambled display, 15th of the 1st, 1999. Oh wow, it's been sat around a while, hasn't it? Like 25 years or something. Not 25, yeah, 25 years. 25 years for someone to look at it, potentially. Just have a look round. It's got to be a bootleg, hasn't it? It has to be a bootleg, because there'd be something on the silk screen. I can't remember who made Pang now. I don't know. Let's have a look at these ROMs. Yeah, they're just marked Mitsubishi Electric, and they all say RC, 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 RC. That's just a standard label they've used to cover the windows up there. 27C 512s. Yeah, plenty of 27C 512s. We've got one or two of those as spares, should we need to replace the chip. And yes, same up here, 27C 512s, 27C 512s, lots of 27C 512s. So we've got an IC position spare there, but there was never anything on there by the looks of it from the manufacturer. Got a rusted or corroded point up here. Is that for a cap or something? I can't see where that is. No, it just sits under the area there, so there's no issue there. I mean, it's definitely going to need a recap, which is it's not going to be a lot of work, is it? Because you've got the ones down the audio here, 5 or 6, and then one up there. That's it. That's all it's got. In terms of ceramics, I am amazed at how few ceramics are on this. Definitely a bootleg. Definitely a bootleg. If this wasn't a bootleg, there'd be a 100 nanofarad cap on every single position around the board. We've got points for them. Yeah, there's points for them, but nothing fitted. So do you know what? I would go around and fit caps on this. I will do that. It's crazy that it doesn't have them fitted. I mean, really crazy. That's just crazy. Look how many chips there are on there. No 100 nanofarad caps. I mean, there's no surface mount ones, are there? No. That is just crazy. Some rework's been done around that, which is a 174. So maybe it's had a fault there. Or maybe it's not rework. I think it's just awful flux. Wow, the solder points are terrible in places on this. So yeah, your first port call with something like this is obviously just inspecting around, really, see what you see. I'm not seeing any damaged traces. It's very, very, very dirty. There's the odd wire that looks a bit suspicious, like they've got one there with a white mark around it. It's probably just dirt, to be honest. Got an interesting bodge going on up here, where something's been joined to what looks like maybe a ground or VCC rail on one of these chips here. It's had an interesting wire attached here. Yeah, there's a wire loose there, some strands. Going to ground on that chip. I think that might be ground. It's a logic. It's a Gal or something like that. It's I'm trying to think who the manufacturer is. Made in Korea. CPL 16L8. So that's like a Gal 16L8, isn't it? Effectively. So. I'm just wondering where the RAM is on this. There must have some RAM somewhere. We've got a Yamaha sound chip up there by the looks of things. 3812. Another Gal. Where? When I say Gal, it's not actually a Gal, it's one of those other Korean chips again. Yeah, I think that's a Gold Star RAM maybe down there. There's some paper stuck between the pins. Got an interesting Gold Star chip there. It's marked Z8400. Is that a Z80 equivalent or something similar? Got HY18CV8S-30 up there. I think that's going to be like a VRAM maybe. 6116 down there. SIS, that's going to be VRAM. Very little in the way of RAM though, if I must. I'm thinking that Gold Star chip's the RAM. 76C88-10, but it could be a mask ROM. I'm thinking a RAM. Yeah, so there's two more there. Two more of those RAM chips there. You're probably going to have, like, I don't know, Sprite, line RAM, pallet RAM, etc. You know, very little in the way of RAM though. Oh, there's two more here. Two more here. I like the ones you get on the Neo Geo. 6116s. I think they're on a Neo Geo. And obviously got this sticker stuck on here, which is covering something up. I don't know what's under it. Anyway. So, where do we start with something like this? I think probably to remove all of these ROMs, label them up, or low. Well, I don't see a marking on the board. You know, like you can't see a part number. There might be underneath there, under the socket, you might be able to see the part number. You know, it might be like D4 or whatever. On arcade boards, they tend to do it in a grid arrangement, so you go like A, B, C, D, all the way down the letters, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah 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 blah. So you know, it might be like this might be like I don't know, K0 or K1 or something, and then K2, K3, K4, depending on whether the rows and columns go, etc. But I don't see any markings anywhere to indicate anything like that. We've got another wire here, look. Yeah, a rogue wire. I mean, it could be showing to the pin next to it there. That's on VCC. So for some reason, that chip has had a ground attached to it and a VCC attached to it. But why? What were they doing with the wires? Did they go elsewhere on the board? Was it a fix? Was it part of someone diagnosing something with it? I don't know. Set of dip switches. And obviously, as you can see, an absolute ton of 7.4 series. But what's nice about that is there's more 7.4 series on here than anything else. You know what? If there is a fault and it's not an EEPROM, having lost some bits, you know, bit rot, etc., it's probably going to be one of these or a RAM chip. I only see the 2 or 3 gals on there, so we might be able to fix this. Another RAM up there, 6116, that's going to be for the sound, because it's right next to the Yamaha there. And I reckon that's going to be sound ROM as well, because it's right next to the Yamaha. Don't know what this is. It could have a second CPU. It's got a label right over the top of it, so I can't tell what that is. I think what I should do, go and have a look for some board photos online, see if we can find some boards that match this for Pang. But also have a look at the architecture of the original Pang board as well, to understand what it should have on it and how similar this is, really. So I'm taking a gamble here. I moved the wire here away from anything to short. Same on the one that's coming out of here. I should just take that chip out and pull those out. It's not doing anything at all, like not even displaying a single thing. So I'm just going to clean up the edge connector there just briefly. I was hoping at the very least we may see it as described, you know, corrupt graphics or something doing to it. Corrupt set of graphics, but well, it's not doing anything at the moment. Nothing at all. It doesn't even like appear to be giving any sync. The TV is just like there's no video signal at all. But I mean, look at the colour of the cotton bud there. Granted, it goes like that when you wipe solder. But that was very, very dirty. Anyway, see if that makes any difference whatsoever. I haven't got the wrist strap on just yet either. Right, skirts in. There's nothing can short anywhere. Switch it on. Yep, nothing on the TV. See that? It's just doing nothing. This is dim here. And I'm damn sure AV1 is the right channel. Oh, that is interesting. Not a sausage. Yeah, the 5 volt level is showing 4.8 at the moment. So let's just remove this chip here. Got the wrist strap on there. Can remove these bits of wire just in case something's shorting out somewhere. But yeah, more has gone on with this than meets the eye. So got a bit of wire around that pin there. Someone's wrapped it right around the pin. I'm thinking that was for a logic probe. Someone wrapped wire around it and then you could attach a logic probe. But you know what? This position here for a cap, you could solder wires directly there and have reliable connections rather than, well, trying to wrap a wire around a pin. And it's the same, hang on, with that one there, is it? Yeah, it is. It's come out. It's on the bench there. But somehow now I've got to try and unwind that from around that pin. That's been desoldered. I can tell the solder all over the legs on it. So again, it doesn't fill me full of confidence. It's not like this is the chip that's probably always been on in that position in the socket. Someone's had it off. Yeah, someone's had it off. Could be in the distant past, I don't know. Pin 1's the right way round. Was this way around originally, let's just switch it on. Nothing's getting hot. Well, nothing that I can feel here. I mean, it's stone cold. Absolutely stone cold. I would suggest one of the first things might be a reset issue with this, actually. Like it isn't coming out of reset. Of course, we don't know what position these dip switches need to be in either. Let's just try and flip them all up. Made no difference to the display. Nothing at all. Slide them all back down again. And the obvious thing here is just to check for chip creep, but I've done that. The things that are socketed around here, those are the things that are going to stop it burning. The sockets on the other side here are video, as far as I can work out. So, unless we've got a problem with a clock, it's really dodgily assembled this, isn't it? Let's just have a look around this area where this crystal is. This is where I guess the main clock is derived for the CPU, and I think it's a Z80. Let's try it again. Just have a press around this. Flex the board slightly. Nope, nothing. Nothing at all. No wonder Glen passed this one on to me. I mean, the thing is, something must have happened to her, because at some point it was giving scrambled display. This is the thing, what happened in between the scrambled display and now? Yeah, so scope in pin 6, I'll show you with the photo of the board here. Pin 6 on the Z80. And we've got roughly 6 megahertz there. You can see that. Yeah, the clock doesn't look great, but we have a clock. The 6th one from the opposite side is the reset. Switch this on. You can see we just get a high. I don't get a low. I'm probably going to pick this up in the morning. It's pretty late. It's like 10 past midnight here on Friday night. So I'm going to be heading off shortly. But I figure let's just do some. And if I can't even seem to do what I'm trying to achieve here. Let's just disconnect this blooming thing. Oh, good God. That's it. Just so that I can rotate the board marginally. And just take these 2 or 3 master ROMs here, just reseat them, inspect them. Because these are going to be for program code. How do I know that? Well, they're right next to what I assume is a Z80. That's RAM, by the way, that Gold Star. I looked up the part number. I think it's like a 6264 equivalent. Pins look alright on that side, and they look alright on that side, but they're very dull. They're very, very dull. So let's just clean these pins up. And it's not even black screening. It's like we're getting no sync at all. It's like it is not even attempting to start to boot. And the obvious things to check: scope the clock, scope the reset line, check the halt pin. And there may be another one. There might be a bus error or something similar on the Z80. I can't remember. Some sort of pin that gives you a clue that there's a problem. And it really wants to be the inside pins, I think, on this. Yeah, it is. Because it's a single wipe socket, it's the inside pins, the ones that make a connection. So you can clean the outside ones till the cows come home, and it will make no difference at all to connectivity with a single wipe. Because the pins are on the inside. So clean these up a lot, more thoroughly later. Pin 1 is to the left here. It's interesting, the footprint on the board seems to allow a large chip there. So like maybe it had 2 different footprints it would support. Don't know, let's see if it'll go back in. And I'm going to try it 1 chip at a time here. So let's power that on. Still doing nothing. Let's connect power and video up. I'm going to get nothing, it's not even connected, is it? And I know this is right. When I connected this up, I measured from one of the blacks on here to ground. Beep. Same on 5 volt. Beep. I also checked to make sure there's no short between 5 volt and ground. And whilst there isn't a short, it's coming up like 0.50 on my meter. So it was giving me a beep, but it wasn't a short. Sometimes you get that when there's quite a lot on the, you know, drawing a lot that would draw current. Yeah, we're still getting nothing on the screen. We can read these ROMs in the EEPROM programmer, you know, dump them, and then use something like ROM ident. There's a few different websites that will do ROM identification based on the checksum. I just bent the pin there when I dropped that. We could do that and just see if they're detected as part of a MAME set. Should be. At that point I can perhaps label them up as well, because it'll give me a chip ID or something for it, and then I can stick a sticker on top so that we know exactly which one's which and which ones we've checked. So that might be something I do before I do much more. I might do that tomorrow. So again, pin 1 to the left here, all of those to the left. See if that's any different. Nope, not doing anything. You can see that, just a black screen. I'll try changing to a different channel, because I'm sure it's AV2. Might be AV1. There is a chance that this TV just doesn't like the display. That's the other possibility here. But I don't think so. I think it would present something. Even if it was messed up or, you know, under bright or something. And when it's out of frequency, it tells you it's out of frequency. And it might not work on my CRT either. But the Punisher was doing exactly the same sort of thing. I couldn't even display at all, and even the 1084S wouldn't lock onto the sync very well. So I think that's where I'll pick up tomorrow. I'll try it on the 1084S, and we'll scope a few things from that point onwards, depending on what we see on the 1084S. Yeah, the following day I've disconnected everything here. I'm going to start cleaning this up, I think, before I do anything else, just so I can inspect a bit more thoroughly. So let's just try and push that screw out. I'm having to press with my finger to the point below in order that it'll start to grip, because it's wider than the PCB, if you see what I mean. You know, it's gripping the PCB. Yeah, I may as well put that in my spares. I'm never going to use that on this board again. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this to the sink, hot soapy water scrubbing brush. I'll probably show you some of that. Scrub it down. Before I do that, I'm going to label up. In fact, we'll do that now. I'm going to label up temporarily every one of these ROMs. So we'll start with this bank of ROMs here, and I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, yeah, and then these ones here I'm going to go, let's do it here, A, B, C, D. So there's no mixing those around, just like I know that the 8 chips go down here, the 4 go there, and then we've got the program ones here, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to go X, Y, Z, Z. And the one up here, I'm just going to put an S on it. It's got a 30 on it, but I've got an S on it for sound. There's absolutely no mixing those up. And then I can remove those before I go clean it, and then just clean it. I'll probably take those gals out as well. In fact, let's just do that. Because sockets, well, it's hard to dry them out if you've got chips in there and you get corrosion stuck in. So with these two here, I'm going to put a square, I think, and the one down here, a triangle, like PlayStation style. Obviously that doesn't help me remember what goes where, but I've done this video so I know the square is near the centre of the board and the triangle is down the bottom. Yeah, a bit of corrosion, but it seems to be fairly clean. And I think before we get these back in, when we've cleaned the board up, I will ROM ident each one. It's a good starting point, really. Cleaning up, inspecting and checking the ROMs, because the ROMs will often be the issue. Even if they've not been raised by ultraviolet getting into the board here, you know, through the bits of scratches on the things there, you get bit raw. They can just lose bits over years and decades. That Metal Slug 5 was like that I looked at very early on the channel. It had no label on it, and even though it had been inside a cabinet and you'd expect no ultraviolet light in there, it becomes sensitive to light in that case, and a lot of the time it was intermittent, a lot of the time it wouldn't boot. It was just the thing needed reflashing, that was all it was. One of the program chips. Be careful when you protrude in that you don't go onto the PCB and leave the traces. So let's go over to the sink and give this a good scrub. You can see before and then and after. Look how dirty it is. It's absolutely filthy. It really is horrible. Right, let's just find the brush where it is and get it in there. I mean, straight away you can see the difference when you get the soapy water over there. If this was like a prestigious Commodore board or a genuine arcade board, this is a bootleg, then yeah, I may just go a bit slower with IPA and cotton boards and paper towel and spend quite some time avoiding doing this. But to be honest, as long as you rinse it off thoroughly and dry it quickly, there's no real risk. It's just making sure there's no moisture gets trapped under things inside socket pins, for example. If you do like these videos, please give the video a like. 95% of my views are from people that aren't subscribed, so also do consider hitting the subscribe button down below and the bell icon, which will give you notifications when a new video comes out. Do you know, it stinks. It really stinks, this. Right, so here we are back at the bench. So I damp dried it in there. Most of the moisture is sort of collected, but obviously there's going to be loads underneath the chips and in the sockets and things like that. So let's just have a clean like this. What's nice about this, because there's no ceramics, I could just go a little bit crazy in between things like this, because there's no chance of pulling the ceramic off, because there's none on it, apart from the odd one on the outer edges. Anyway. There we go. Now on the underside it's quite telling because it looks spotless on the side. Look, well, fairly spotless. We've got some streaks here, mostly where the moisture still is. Get some cotton buds to get into between these gaps in a minute, but yeah, there's a bit of dirt here still. You know, I did scrub there, but yeah, there's some marks around there. But look at this side here. Look at the state of the underside of it. Look at this area up here. I couldn't see that for all the dust. Some of this is flux, but some of it you can see is like corrosion, I think. Some moisture's got on there. So the underneath of it, this is going to need a really good scrubbing with some IPA and a brush, because it's pretty horrific. I'm horrified at how the underneath has come out. Lots of moisture still. Yeah, so I think the next thing I would do is blow dry it and then stand it next to my heater for a while. So we'll go 130 degrees here, max airflow, and start on the most important side, the top side. You can argue the most important side is the solder point side, but no, not when you've got sockets. So should I go all around these sockets here? There's no moisture coming out. I think I've got most of it out already. It's amazing how quick something like this dries when you use paper towel on it. Yeah, I think those are those kind of sockets that wouldn't hold the water. You know, it goes down through the gap in the plastic part of the carrier, if you like. Some sockets tend to hold it a bit, and you do this and you get water splattering out when you do it, or leaking out from the underside, but no, I'm not seeing that at all. I'm going to put it in front of the fan heater here on the floor, with, you know, on its side like that, with some paper towel, and it'll dry in no time. So I'll report back. Yeah, I've got the board just held up with a CD spindle here and a fan heater over there, so I'll give that 20 minutes. Right, that's had long enough to dry, and I think you'll agree the difference is like night and day on the top side. It's immaculate now. So I'm going to remove these labels here. I've got to clean up around here with cotton buds because there is still, look, something here, something sticky, or I don't know what it is. It's got around there, around that whole area. Can you see it in the light? And the underside is obviously horrific. So I'm going to spend some time with IPA and a toothbrush here and clean the underside of it, because the soap and water just hasn't done it. And it's not sticky, it's just really, really dirty. I'll try and get this label off the underside here as well. So let's start on the top side. Let's just deal with those things. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why would you do all this at the start? You don't even know what's wrong with it. You haven't even seen any display. You haven't seen anything. I'm almost tempted to fit the 100 nanofarad caps next, to be honest, and recap it, even though those are not things that would cause the problem at all. Anyway, let's just get some IPA and have a bit of a press, there we go, on those labels, the remnants. Yeah, the point is, I'm not optimistic. I mentioned that in a recent video. I'm not optimist, I'm a realist, but because I'm a realist, I know that I'm going to push towards a solution on this no matter what. Even if one of the pals is dead on this, if I can work that out, I would go as far as getting, trying to find the code for it if I could get it, or go and get another faulty pang board and swap out the part until I've proven it, and then try and dump the original chip in some way. So I don't see any problems with this board that mean that I can't push it to completion. That's the point I'm trying to make here. I think that if I'm optimistic, stay positive and determined, I don't see why this couldn't be fixed, to be honest. I think it could be painful. I'm not suggesting it's going to be easy, because there are no schematics. But we can make some educated guesses, and the chips are all marked up, and we can just try and apply a bit of common sense, really, and measure what we can measure and see if we can find clues. There are a few chips on here that need reseating as well. One's like, instead of being flat, it's like that. It's like barely making a connection on one side. So there's and 2 or 3 of those. So I think I'm going to be removing a few chips on this and socketing things up just based on how bodily they are fitted. Similarly, another thing you could do when you're approaching something like this with no schematics, no understanding of this board, you could just start by desoldering the RAM in the various places and socketing up, and then swap chips around. Does the behaviour change? It's simple stuff without scoping or measuring anything. The only thing you need is capability to desolder the chip carefully and fit a socket. And you can also argue in all these old arcade boards, anything like RAM and ROMs that are socketed is beneficial, because those are going to be the things that generally die. Same with the CPU. I'm tempted to, at some point, if we don't make any progress, just to socket that up anyway. It runs at 6 MHz, that, so I'm not sure I even have a Z80 that would be suitable. It's an NMOS flavour, I think, on these boards. That is potentially rated to go at 6 or 8 MHz, I don't know. I mean, it might not be. They could be overclocking this. It might be rated to 4 and they're running it at 6. I know they're running it at 6 because I scoped it. Now I've got a second 1084S, haven't I, that I haven't got around to do anything with yet. So I'm kind of tempted to get that on the corner of the bench here, or on the floor maybe, and use that. Pins on that look awful, the actual chip. So let's try and get that last label off. It's useful to do this anyway, because we don't know what these chips are, because the labels, I want to say, is that a 245? I think it is. So that's all 4 of those labels moved there. I'm going to clean around here next, because that's greasy or something, isn't it? It looks horrible. I don't know, it's just really dirty. If I hold that at the right angle on the light, you might be able to see that it is dirty. It always amazes me that when you put something like this in the sink with soap and water, and it's really hot water, that didn't come off. It's like, what is it that needs IPA there? I don't know. And for YouTube members or patrons, you can access videos a lot earlier, sometimes like 6 months early. Yeah, that's looking a lot better around there now, I think you'll agree. So the rest of the top of the board is okay, apart from obviously needing a recap and, well, some things cleaning up. It looks awful around that crystal. Well, let's just turn our attention to the underside now, which is horrific. Between the corner we've just done here, there are some marks here, like on the PCB itself, and little speckles and things, but, you know, I'll give it one more file go as a whole when we've done the other parts. Anyway, I'll report back. And yeah, still some moisture there, so this is where I just like try and get it in the light and just have a bit of a polish one way or the other, and then occasionally just wipe your brush onto paper towel like that. So at this point here, I started using the T48 to dump each of the ROMs. You could use a TL866 or many other EEPROM programmers. They're just 27C512s, the majority of the chips on this board. I think there's one of the ones on the program side is a different chip actually. It might be a 27C020 or something like that. And then I uploaded them to the website you can see here. It's like a ROM ident type website. There are a few different websites that do that, where you upload the ROM file and it compares it to its database based on the checksum. And there were two anomalies. One of them came up as like a shared ROM. I think it was the sound ROM. It's the same sound ROM that between two different sets, Pang and another game. So I was thinking, oh, it must be program code contained within that ROM that's the same between two different arcade boards, if that makes sense. And the actual sounds, files and samples and music probably come from the program side. The main Z80 probably feeds, you know, hands over the actual sound files and things, you know, the data for the YM chip there and sample data, etc. But there was also another anomaly. It was coming up as saying one of the ROMs, the graphic ROMs, belonged to Super Cache X. I can't find any information on that. Like, was that a fruit machine, like a soft fruit machine that ran in an arcade board? I don't know, how did it get onto this board? The only thing I can think is someone must have taken the ROMs out at some point and mixed up one from another board. So I ended up reprogramming that with what I believed was the correct ROM. And it was a little bit of guesswork really. I compared the checksums on all the other ROMs to work out which ROMs I had and which one was the one that I didn't have. Because, as I mentioned earlier, there's no markings on the board to say which chip is which. There's no numbers on them or anything. Well, we've got our work cut out for us on this one, haven't we? That's on the 1084S, switch it off. Oh, hang on. Did you see that? We actually had some video there. Oh, some video. That's interesting, isn't it? Just a little bit. I don't quite get this. It's like something's warming up and we're starting to get a better display. I don't know, I'm just feeling around the top of the board as a power cycle this. It's getting warmer now. Last night when I was testing, everything was stone cold. So yeah, there's definitely more than one thing going on. It's not just that ROM. Testing without that ROM at the moment. But I'll figure that that's just going to contain graphical data. Probably. You know, like either sprites or backgrounds or something. Yeah, CPU's like lukewarm. You can see it's really struggling. Maybe my monitor here can't handle what this is outputting. That's another complication with this. I mean, I guess I could prove that. I could find the H-sync and V-sync and just work out what frequency it's outputting, scope it and see, is that too much for this monitor? And if it is the case, then I'm going to have to change my direction somehow and work out, like I say, another method of outputting video, or displaying video. Yeah, just changed my attention to have a bit of an inspection, because it's been so long since I looked at this, and I didn't spend long before. We did the stuff with the ROMs there, but can you see there's a scratch, like right across here, across there, across here. So I'm going to continue inspecting around the board, but well, I want to just measure around actually. Some of these we can measure without having to scratch any of the solder mask off. But anyway, that sort of thing, if there's damage there, I would turn it up anyway, and if I scratch it, I'll turn it up. Yeah, that one's alright. But like here you see, hang on, I can't even move the board. Yeah, it goes under there and under there, so you know what, we need to scratch it off. This is the thing. Got no choice but to scratch where we see marks like that. I mean, already I'm thinking that's alright, because you know what, I can go, oh, maybe not. Maybe not, maybe that is the issue. Now it seems to be joined, look. Which is really mysterious, because it looks like it's not joined. There must be something pressed in at that point. Oh, I wish this microscope wouldn't bob up and down like that. Yeah, it's just scratched the surface of it, hasn't it? Which, under the right lighting conditions, makes you think there's a cut. I think. Yeah, there's no break in that. It's going to be the same with the 1-2 it's left here. That's a bit of corrosion, I think, that little dot there. I don't think that's going through. Let's just scratch off down here and then right up there. Of course, quite hard to tin that because it's almost on that pin, and you don't want to short that thing to that pin unless that goes there. I doubt it. No, it goes elsewhere, that. Yeah, that's alright. We've tested that one. Let's just shift over this way a bit. So we've got a similar thing here. That looks a bit deeper maybe there. No, same thing, it's just surface scratch, but well, in the middle it looks like it's damaged, doesn't it? But you never know, we might find one this way. Nope. The next one we can test to the chip. And then we got some more here. I can test that one to the chip. If you pierce the things here, sometimes you can just like use the probes and squidge around a little bit, and you may pierce the solder mask. It's easier if you scratch it off, if you ask me. Just a little bit, and down here, hang on. A little bit. That's okay. So there's only really that last one there, I think, because that looks alright. So the last one, I mean there. Again, you can see the scratch goes right into it, because it has left a line there. But it's okay. Anyway, I'll keep looking around. Right, there's two things I'm going to do to this. I'm going to swap that cap there, check if there was a cap missing here, because it's next to some 7.4 series. I'm wondering if this is clock, I think it's clock, and reset maybe. We may be getting reset from around here, and maybe because the cap's missing, you might not even be getting a reset. I did probe this at 18, and I couldn't see a definitive change from low to high. It's just like high all the time, high, high, high. So anyway, and one of the legs there is just like hanging on. You know, there's no solder around it. It's obviously, potentially, had two caps there. I don't know. Maybe that bottom one was never soldered. Now I see what look like legs. So there's a cap missing from there. Definitely. And it's going to that 7.4LS132, whatever that one of those is. So you know what? Could be some sort of clock issue or something, or reset issue here. So I'm going to deal with those. But also, there's this chip over here, which I may have pointed out already, that it's crooked on the board, super crooked. And this pin here looks like the pad's ripped off the board. So I don't know what's happened. Maybe someone tried to remove it with hot air, bodged it on and ripped the pad, or I don't know. So I'm going to deal with those two things, but that doesn't look right, and the thing over there doesn't look right. So yeah, I'll report back in a minute. Yeah, 74 LS132 is a quad or-gate Schmidt, I think. So maybe that is something to clocks or reset, I don't know. Those caps maybe just smoothing the supply rail. I don't honestly know. I could check that in a minute. I'm going to deal with them anyway. I'll try and find that chip now. It's here. The interesting thing with this is it kind of looks like factory solder points, so I don't know if it's always worked that way. Maybe it was intermittent. I don't know. I'm just going to use the solder gun here. The ZD915. I've got a new. Yeah, just move the camera there. Yeah, I've got a new tip for this. It's a proper Duratool one here, even though the station is not a Duratool official station. It's this one here. So I'm going to use this to get that chip off. I may need to free it with hot air. Let's just see. Well, trying to get onto those is not easy. So just going to inspect those pins. Yeah, they're looking alright. It's the sort of thing, it'd be really easy to lose the pads on this because it's a really cheaply manufactured board, as you'd imagine. It would be. So I'm just going to try and grab the chip. I'm just going to heat that fourth pin. It's that one. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, it was four from the right, not four from the left. And so there's the chip with an obvious missing pin, which is really strange. Like, why would you do that? Why would you have it one colour mounted to the board, not have a pin, and then join a pin up? Unless someone cut the pin to do some testing to rule it out, I don't know. In any case, it's yeah, the board's alright. I was going to say, it's not right, is it? So let's just absorb the solder from here if we can. Right, there we go. All the pads seem to be intact on this side. Right, let me go and get a socket. How many pins is there? 1, 2. Yeah, it's a 16 pin one. On this side there's hardly anything to solder onto though. Right, so I've got a socket. Yeah, I don't hold high hopes of this going as low as I thought, because there's hardly anything on the pads here. There are hardly any pads to solder onto though. Obviously I need to clean on this side as well. Got a big blob of flux there. Yeah, fine on this side. So as long as I get sufficient solder through, it should be okay. There's my socket. Pin 1 to the left here. Yeah, before you start commenting, this is not Chris card solder or gadget card solder. This is the board is crap. So yeah, bits of solder mask worn off there. In particular though, I'm interested in, where's it gone? I'm interested in this pin here, because there's a trace here, look. Where does that go? I can't see. Oh, it goes right there to that fire. So let's just test the trace where we can see it is exposed here. Yeah, it's not going to the pin, look. But it is going to the trace. So I'm going to stick a wire from there to there. The only other one that branches off like that looks alright. This one though goes there. Hang on, where does that go? Ooh, all the way over here. Yeah, that one's alright. So if we go from the point there, just make sure it doesn't go there. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go there, it goes here, and it doesn't go there. So annoying. Yeah, that looks solid now, so I think we can just maybe give it another try. But before I do that, and I know I should test one thing at once, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to swap that cap and potentially fit another cap, because it does look like we've got, you know, a cap missing there. You can see the stubs just a little bit, yeah? And this one's bent right over and just been mangled. So it's positive is towards the centre. Funnily enough, yeah, there's like a centre mark scratched on there. Yeah, there's a centre mark scratched on top by someone else, but the centre's apparently here in the middle. Anyway, I'm going to just heat the points here and see if we can get this cap out. It just came off. It's like one side wasn't really on. Particle solder on the PCB. On these crap PCBs like this, it's one of those things you can touch it with a solder, it'll stick. It won't not stick. On a good PCB, it's harder for that to happen. It does happen, but it's harder for it to happen. And up here's a bit of an interesting thing going on, isn't it? Things mangled around and stuff. Right, let's put some of these tools away. So switching this on now, we've actually got video. Can you see that? That's the first time we've had video. Now, I've not got that 139 fitted at the moment, but that's a definite difference. Definite difference. Wow. So maybe that cap didn't need to be on there. So with this spot over here, I have got an an LS139. I've got HCT139 just for now. I'm just going to bodge this on and just see what happens. Like, does it do anything? Maybe not. I mean, there could be other problems now. Maybe now we've got video, but we're missing, you know, the ROMs are wrong, or there's a fault somewhere else, or because of that dodgy solder points there, that's not right. Switch it on. See what happens. It's not getting hot, but it's not doing anything. We have got video now, which is an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah, those caps were definitely a thing. Let's try changing some of these switches over. I mean, you shouldn't really do it in real time, but I'm going to just put all the switches up. This power cycle there. Yeah, another part for the course thing really, just cleaning up the legs on the couple of pals that are socketed because they're awful. So I thought I'd revisit trying to find the sync again. So if we count down here, 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12, 13. And it's the inner pad. There's two pads next to each other all the way down. So you can measure the top side of the JAMMA or the lower side of the JAMMA from the top side. That's really nice. And as you can see on the scope there, and I'll show you on the scope, 15.63 kilohertz. Yeah, the thing up there is, you know, unstable. It showed 14.7, but down here the frequency counter is actually showing 15.63. So maybe the sync's got some jitter in it or something. I don't know. But it's there. Anyway, so it looks like we've got sync, and that explains why we've got the 3 dots appearing on the Sony there, because it's like, yeah, there's RGB. I've got a signal that I'm locked onto, but it's just a black screen. Now, the next thing I did, and I might just show you if we get a bit further, I used this box. We showed it a few times on my channel actually, but I think we last showed it on the Punisher when I looked at that, you know, Bootleg Punisher PCB, and I connected up to the audio section, and I probed around the output of some of these chips here, like 3 chips there for the audio. That's for the audio, but it produces digital, so you've got a DAC, I think, and then the digital goes here and is, you know, output as an analog form or something. And I was just hearing really weird noises that change and stuff. No, it doesn't sound like actual game music or sound. So yeah, this, and obviously we've got nothing other than black on the screen. Maybe the sync level needs adjusting. Now, this JAMMA adapter here, I did fit a trim cap, trim resistor, not a trim cap, so that I could just tweak the sync level. I'm just wondering if the sync level's messing things up. Might just try and adjust that. Probably not, because I don't think you'd get a black screen if the sync was not interpreted by the TV right. The three dots that show, yeah, RGB. I'm seeing RGB as opposed to composite or nothing. So I'm still in the dark with this. But I still think that maybe the TV can't display this. But yeah, I just got the brainwave to use one of the HDMI upscalers I fixed. You'll see that in another video. Because I scoped the RGB, this is the thing, and I'm like, this is actually video. Why is the screen not displaying it? So obviously we've got a problem here now, in that graphics are messed up, but you know what, the game's booting. And I think we've got a sound problem, because, well, the sound isn't right either. I mean, technically this should pass the sound, but not hearing any sound. Unless it needs a credit. Yeah, you see, it registered 1 credit there, but I don't know. It didn't register any more. Oh no, it did. No, it did. Yeah, the credit is like flaky as anything. I need to get a controller, don't I? I need to go find my Neo Geo pad. Just power cycle it again. And the interesting thing there, that said RAM OK, so obviously work RAM maybe. Anyway, I'm feeling more positive because I feel like, yeah, we're not in an impossible situation here now, but let me just show you how I connected it. Yeah, one of these. So I repaired 2 of these. They came from Jamie Morgan. They're great for working on old arcade boards because this display will not display the signal. So we've definitely got a sprite issue. What I can do now is scope around some of the chips that I suspect, but I can also try piggybacking. So I think what I might do is just like look for a specific family, like 74F74, sorry, LS74, and get one of those and piggyback 1 chip at a time. You know, power it off, piggyback the chip, power it on. See, do we get any difference in behaviour? If we do, I've found the problem. It could be a RAM fault. It could be graphics RAM, you know, video RAM. But I think we've got a sound problem as well, so I think this is a bit of a painful one, this, because we've had problems with the ROMs. The ROMs were all messed up, and the ROMs may still not be right. That's a possibility here. But also, we didn't have any video out at all, and I think that was that capacitor. We had that budged chip, and there was no life until I redid that. So, and I think we've got sound, and I think we've got video. And the credit thing is flaky. Maybe it just needs some contact cleaner in it. Yeah, you see, it worked then. Not then. Not then. Not then. It's 5 coins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That might be how the dip switches are set. It might be like 5 coins for one go, you know, one game. Maybe it's assuming you're putting like 10 pence pieces in and it's 50p a go. That might be what's going on with the credits, I think. But anyway, I'm counting that as a win, because you know what? A board this complicated with no schematics, that's a win so far. So with regards to actually being able to see a picture there, I'm overjoyed with that. Massive thanks to Jamie Morgan. Please check out Jamie Morgan's channel down below, because it was his upscaler, the HDMI upscaler, and there'll be a link top right to the repair of those. He allowed me to keep them, he didn't want them back. I offered to send him back those 2 units free of charge after the repair, but he didn't want them. He's already got a number of different upscalers, and I just got the brainwave thinking, those upscalers, they're kind of useful for old arcade boards that have really weird oddball frequencies, and it just worked. So I'm so lucky. It's just a fate thing again. It's one of these things. Jamie just happened to send them just after CRG sent me the board, and yeah, the rest is history really. Join me in part 2. There's going to be quite a lot more to do to this board. There are a couple more issues with the board, graphical issues, and there's a couple of sound issues as well. And I do a lot more to this board, and yeah, at the end of it, it comes out really, really well. I'm really pleased with the end result, as you'll see in the end of part 2. So a huge thanks to Glen over at CRG for sending this. Please check his channel out. There'll be a link down below. So he does lots of similar things that I do, you know, repairs and upgrades to a lot of his old computers. He's done some things I haven't done, things like Macs. So if you're into Apple Macintosh stuff, check his channel out for that. But he also does Amiga stuff as well, and many other systems that, you know, we look at here. So if you like my channel, you'll love Glen's channel. Yeah, so hopefully you join me in part 2. I'll catch you in the next video.